Co-work Radio here on KZSB 1290 AM. I'm Catherine Raymock.
And I'm Jane Walker-Wood.
And we are a show all about the modern entrepreneur. Each week we interview company founders. We want to thank our sponsors, Impact Hub Santa Barbara, and also Montecito Bank and Trust. We've got a couple of great guests.
Yeah, neighbor Tim Barbecue is here today. Tim and his lovely wife, they operate a barbecue food truck, which is a huge, fast-paced growing industry in the U.S. right now. $2.7 billion business.
Yeah, we're going to talk to him about the food truck and also doing that here in Santa Barbara, some of the regulations, and as again, Jane mentioned that growing industry. Also, Brandon Cox will be with us. He is the co-founder of CorePower Yoga, and they have 170 locations all across the country. All right, we're looking at some business news and want to talk a little bit about tax filing. And I don't know if I know you know part of this, Jane, but I don't know if you know that, of course, yesterday was the day that most people were supposed to file, but most people got one extra day because the IRS, their website crashed. Did you know that yesterday?
Really?
People could not file online, and the Treasury Secretary said, keep this phrase in mind in case your website ever crashes. He said it was a high-volume technical issue. Yes, so people that were trying to file yesterday have until today. Okay. However, if you're in the county or of Santa Barbara or Ventura,
if you're in any presidential disaster declaration zone,
you have until the 30th of April. There were some people that were thinking they were actually going to check and see if you were really affected, but then I said,
no, it doesn't matter. As long as you're in a presidential disaster declaration zone. You go to the IRS website and it lists all the locations. Other business news, and this is good news, is Southern California bankruptcy courts are showing that less businesses are going bankrupt than before. It's actually a 7-year low, so that's a good sign.
That is a very good sign. Another attempt by an online company to create sort of a day that would be an internet sensation is coming up, and it's Wayfair, and it's a furniture store, and they've declared next Wednesday Way Day. So the company is going to be offering discounts, they say comparable to Black Friday deals. So we'll see how it goes for them.
Yeah, I've been on the site. It's very similar to Amazon for furniture.
Oh, okay.
And it's really very inexpensive.
Yeah, and I think Amazon has something like Prime Day, and so it's the same idea, but we'll see if it works for them.
Now, locally, property values in Montecito, as most of you know, have really dropped because of the mudslides and fire. And that's cutting into county coffers because Montecito normally contributes 17% of the county property tax and 62% of the transient occupancy tax. And the Biltmore and San Ysidro Ranch, which are two highest growing hotels, are both closed for now.
Yes, and I believe the open date on the Biltmore is June the 1st. I took a trip up to the San Ysidro Ranch with a friend of mine last weekend and was turned around. No date on that, I don't think.
You couldn't even get there?
Couldn't even get there.
That's not good for tourists.
No, not good at all. Some other local news for people. Santa Barbara County supervisors have approved a cannabis business license, and hoping that is going to help, hopefully, maybe, we'll see how it works out, with some property tax shortfall.
But of course, a lot of people that are in the areas where they're applying for the license are complaining because nobody wants it near them. They don't mind the liquor store at the corner, but no pot stores. Anyway, the Green Business Program of Santa Barbara County has just celebrated 50 new Santa Barbara County businesses that are green, including Impact Hub Santa Barbara, our sponsor. So congratulations to them.
And congratulations, Yardi, Santa Barbara-based, has acquired a co-working technology firm called Phoenix Broadband. And it's an innovative business technology firm specializing in infrastructure and hardware solutions for shared workspaces.
Yeah, I wanted to give a congrats to BioIQ, which is a local Santa Barbara-based tech company. And Justin Belante, the CEO, is going to be on our show. They just raised over $26 million in funding.
All right, some national business news. I don't know if you heard this, Domino's, which has, of course, been bringing pizza to doorsteps for half a century or so. Well, next, you don't need a door. So the company says they're going to focus on the great outdoors. They're going to meet customers at U.S. beaches and parks and landmarks to hand over the pizza that way. And you can get it, I don't know, there's all kinds of places that you can have it delivered outside.
Well, they can probably you could probably pinpoint the same way as you can with the Uber.
Well, I think that's how they do it, because there's an app that you can download.
Okay.
And I'm sure, as a matter of fact, that is a good point. That's probably how they do it.
Okay. Well, now I thought this would be for fun. I was looking up some really strange businesses that you didn't know existed. And this one is called Newticals. And, and this is if your dog has been spayed or fixed, you can get an implant that will artificially send out the scent to help boost your pet's self-esteem.
What? No, you're actually kidding me,
No,
right?
I'm not. No, I'm not.
Wow.
No, because I guess your body doesn't make the same sense once you've been spayed or neutered. Okay.
Okay.
You like that one?
I do like that one.
Okay, here, I got another one.
Okay.
If you're pissed off at someone, they just broke up with you, you can send dirty, rotten flowers. So instead of sending a nice bouquet, you can send some dead ones.
Wow. That seems like fairly low overhead, too.
We should have covered that on Valentine's Day.
People involved.
Oh, that's true. Why couldn't you just recycle? There could be a website where you could send your dead flowers to the next person.
You are listening to Co-Work Radio here on KZSB 1290 AM. Catherine Raymock, along with Jane Walker Wood. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, one of our favorite parts of the program, we'll be talking with John Greathouse. It's up next. Hi, it's Catherine Raymock. Are you buying or selling a home? See Compass Realtor Terry Ryken. I went to Terry because of his reputation and experience, but was quickly taken by his genuine enthusiasm. It's that combination that truly sets him apart. Terry specializes in properties in Montecito, Hope Ranch, Santa Barbara, and Santa Ynez Valley, and has 39 years of experience as an agent and broker. There are so many realtors to choose from, but only one Terry Ryken. Find out for yourself. Google search Terry Ryken.
What's that?
This? The newest online business banking around.
Can you initiate wires and approve transfers?
Yes.
Pay bills?
Check.
Cash management?
Of course.
All business, all online, all on your phone.
You bet. My computer, too. It's Montecito Bank and Trust's new business online banking. It works as hard as I do.
Huh. Montecito Bank and Trust.
You got it. Montecito Bank and Trust. Behind every great community is a great bank. Montecito.bank. Member FDIC.
Hi, I'm Dan Farrick, Managing Director of the Impact Hub Santa Barbara. Come visit us and find out why co-working spaces are booming. Our 2 locations in the Funk Zone and downtown Santa Barbara offer private offices, permanent desks, and a variety of co-working memberships starting as low as $60 a month. Mention Co-Work Radio when you book our tour, and we'll give you 10% off your first 6 months of membership. Join a community where you can live and work smart. Go to impacthubsb.com or call 284-0078 to find out more.
UCSB Arts and Lectures presents acclaimed New York-based theater company Bedlam, performing St. Joan April 19th and Hamlet April 20th at Campbell Hall. 4 actors play 49 characters in this fresh kinetic look at William Shakespeare's and George Bernard Shaw's most famous creations. The adrenaline-fueled performances bring iconic figures vividly to life in 2 riveting, unexpectedly funny, stripped-down stagings over 2 transformative evenings. Tickets at artsandlectures.ucsb.edu.
Welcome back to Co-Work Radio. I'm Jane Walker Wood.
And I'm Catherine Raymock here on Go ahead.
Sorry. And we're here with UCSB professor and prolific business author John Greathouse. If you want to ask him some business questions, go to our website at coworkradio.com or email askjohn@coworkradio.com, and you can listen to John on our website or iTunes, iHeart, YouTube. How are you doing, John?
Great.
Good. Hey, last week you were talking about a subject where you were encouraging somebody to go back to their landlord and renegotiate a lease because of the times that we find ourselves in now, and really encouraging that. And you brought up a term called long ball, playing long ball. And I wondered if you had any other examples examples of how that might work for somebody.
Yeah, and just as a reminder, maybe some of the didn't hear last week's excerpt. So long ball is taking as it sounds like, a very long view of a negotiation. So what I'm going to do if I'm playing long balls, I'm going to try to find something that you think is unlikely and that costs you nothing. And I'll just say, oh, by the way, and almost like I'll throw it in at the end, like, oh, by the way, can I have this? And you'll scratch your head and you'll go, yeah, I don't care. And you'll give it to me. And I'll give you a couple examples. So Dick Lester was the director of the Beatles movie Hard Day's Night. And everyone thought the Beatles were going to last 6 months. It was like, they were like the biggest, the latest boy band. Nobody thought they had staying power. And Dick said when he was negotiating his contract, he said, you know what? I agree with you guys. These guys aren't going to last. I would like to have the rights revert to me personally for this film in 10 years. So he ended up owning and owns to this day. His family owns Hard Day's Night. So when you see all the reissues, VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, they did a theatrical release a couple different times. All of that money goes in his pocket.
Did anybody ever question him on that? Did he really believe that, or do you know?
I think he really believed it.
This is interesting what you're bringing up about rights, because I know somebody who had a movie made 10 years ago and gave away all my long-term rental rights. At the time, there was no such thing as HBO and Apple TV.
Yes.
So how would you advise?
So I have another example. Yeah. I have a perfect example.
So I
went
and looked at the contract the other day. I went, oh.
And folks that are listening to this, we didn't set that up. This is I didn't know she was going to talk about that. So the other another example I have is Edgar Rice Burroughs. So Edgar Rice Burroughs wrote Tarzan, wrote a whole bunch of great stories. He was approached to put Tarzan on Broadway. And at the last minute of the negotiations, he said they originally wanted to own the theatrical rights to Tarzan, and he said, you know what, I'm going to give you the live stage rights, but I'm going to own everything that might come after that. Movies were just starting. So to your point about
when
DVD,
he said everything, he didn't even specify movies, because who would have known? That was the thing. He carved out things that I can't define today. I own them. And so that allowed him to own that whole Tarzan franchise in the 30s with the, Weissmuller and all these, movie stars that were Tarzan. He could own the TV show. Video games going
everything.
forward.
So his family, obviously, he's been gone for a while, obviously, but his family got the TV rights to Tarzan, then the games and all that stuff. That's long ball. So he could have just said, "Oh yeah, sure, do the play."
Well, you've got to be a futuristic thinker, because who would imagine that there'd be video games back then?
And when there's things like that, people will give it to you more readily. And I'll give you one more.
Because it's worthless, they think.
They think it's worth. I'll give you one more quick example. So everyone knows about the American Basketball Association, right? The ABA. They had the red, white, and blue ball in the 70s. They had sort of goofy things that were going on there. There was two brothers that owned the St. Louis team. So when they merged the ABA teams into the NBA, they told St. Louis, we don't want you guys. The Salinas brothers. And the Salinas brothers were adamant. Like, they wanted the St. Louis Spirits to be in the NBA. And they said, look, we're not going to do it. Like, forget it. And so there was another team, the Colonels. The Kentucky Colonels took a one-time payout of about $4 million. I think it was $3.5 million. They just took the one-time payout and walked away. Salinas brothers go, no, here's what we want you to do. Only give us a couple $1 million, but we want 1% of the TV rights for the ABA teams that are going into the NBA. We want it as if we were in the NBA. So our team is not going to be in the NBA. We hear you. You're not going to let us. But we want TV rights as if we would be, and we want them in perpetuity. Yeah. They got that. Ended up being worth hundreds of millions of dollars. The estimate is it's almost $1 billion. They settled it about a year ago now. People are going to Google this and get the whole story. About a year ago, the NBA finally said, enough. We're paying you guys a fortune every year for this team that doesn't exist. And so they did a payout. They did a one-time payout of a huge sum of money.
I'm guessing that you are a great negotiator. If I had something to negotiate, I'd send you out. But were you always is negotiating a skill that you need to learn?
It's scary. Yeah. When I was 12 years old, I had a company with my brother-in-law. He was 16.
What was it?
It was sportsman with baseball cards. So we traveled up and down the East Coast. Gosh. Isn't it ridiculous?
No, it's great.
When I think about it, it's just I was a 12-year-old kid standing there negotiating with grown men. They would look at my my brother-in-law, he wasn't my brother-in-law at the time, he was only 16, but they would look at him like, why am I talking to this kid, right? So to me, it was just a natural state of being.
And maintained well, they're still worth a fortune. I don't know if you've ever seen that show, Pawn Stars.
Oh, yeah.
Well, do you know what people collect that has almost no value? And that's the Playboy, because apparently so many men have them.